So one statement that shocked me was caffeine has no effect on sleep in menopause. And you said it's a myth. I was like, wait, what? Talk to us about that. So, welcome everyone. We are so excited. We have Dr. Funke Brown with us today. This whole month of April, we will be talking about sleep. And so, she is a sleep expert. Dr. Funke Brown is a triple boarded certified sleep physician and the founder of Restful Sleep MD. She's also the best selling author of Beyond Tired, a sleep physician's guide to solving your child's sleep problems for good. She helps individuals prioritize sleep, achieve optimal health, thrive, and live to their fullest potential. She is a busy physician and a mom of two. She works also with organizations and businesses to help their health by incorporating healthy sleep into their wellness journey. She is a consultant and a speaker on a national, regional, and international platforms. She has published several peer-reviewed manuscripts on various sleep disorders. So we are so honored to have you here. I probably didn't do justice to your bio, so please tell us who you are in your own words, and we'll get started.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for that very warm and kind introduction. Like you said, I'm a sleep medicine physician, and I really want to help as many people as possible to sleep better, because we're in a sleep deprived generation, an epidemic, whatever it is you want to call it. We're not getting enough sleep, both in quantity as well as in quality. And I'm just here to help change that narrative.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So I wanted to just get started with some myths and facts about sleep. And so when I read the statement, let us know if it's a myth or a fact. So waking up at 3 a.m. is a sign that something is wrong. Is that myth or fact?
Myth.
Myth. Okay. Menopause automatically causes insomnia for every woman.
Myth.
Hot flashes are the only reason women can't sleep during menopause.
Myth, for sure.
Interesting. Sleeping less during menopause is just part of aging and nothing can be done.
Myth, for sure.
Oh, wow. Melatonin is always the best solution for sleep problems.
Myth.
Okay. Caffeine has no effect on sleep in menopause.
Myth.
Okay. Only older women experience sleep problems during menopause.
Myth.
Okay. Night sweats always mean a serious health problem.
Myth.
Sleeping during the day can fix poor nighttime sleep.
Myth.
Exercise too close to bedtime always causes insomnia.
Myth.
Wow.
Hormone therapy. These questions.
Everything is a myth here, and I believe some of them. I think I'm going to go back and get some more answers here. I'm just like, wait, what? All right. Hormone therapy is the only way to improve sleep in menopause.
Myth.
Wow. Stress doesn't contribute to sleep issues in menopause. It doesn't,
Myth.
does it? Sleeping pills is an effective way to improve sleep.
Myth.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I mean, every single statement here is not true. But talk to us about the 3 a.m. waking up.
Great question. I love that one so much. So here's the thing. We all wake up in the middle of the night. Everybody. Nobody sleeps through the night. That's why it's a myth, right? Some people wake up and they're very fully awake. Some people wake up very transiently. They're not even aware. We call it a brief arousal. And then they continue to cycle through the different stages of sleep. Because we cycle through sleep. So we go through, light sleep, deep sleep, dream sleep, or what we call REM sleep. We have a brief awakening or arousal, and then we continue cycling through again. So that is normal. And I think if people can understand that the actual wake up in the middle of the night is normal, first of all, it helps you take a deep breath. The issue is not being able to fall back asleep. Now that's a problem. And that's where people get stuck. So waking up itself is not the problem. It's not being able to self-regulate or manage the emotion or the anxiety or the mind racing to fall back asleep. Now that's where we have a problem.
Okay. Well, thank you. I noticed that because I wear this Aura ring, and so every day I look at my sleep patterns and I see that, there are small parts where you are awake, but I don't remember being awake. Exactly. So absolutely. So yes, absolutely. It's about how long you stay awake when you wake up at 3 a.m. basically. Exactly. So, I mean, if I could have a jar for every woman who comes to see me who is having trouble sleeping, I would have a line out my door, and it always happens at 3 they wake up and they can't go back to sleep. So talk to us. What do you think about that? What is happening?
Yeah, great question. So with that, very often it's really around a number of issues. Sometimes it may be related to stress. Sometimes it may be related to anxiety. If it's been going on for a while, we want to figure out how often is it happening? Is it happening every night or once a week or once a month? And so if it's been happening at least 3 nights a week for more than 3 months, you essentially fit the criteria we call insomnia. And with that, we also can see changes, especially for women. In midlife, perimenopause usually is when we start to see an emergence of those like long awakenings, those 3 a.m. awakenings. And so hormonal issues, the fluctuations in the estrogen, progesterone, the spikes in cortisol, and all of that can contribute to it. That's one thing. But then there are other reasons why you might be having nighttime wake-ups. It might be sleep apnea, which also gradually increases in life. So your wake-up may have been a sign. It's almost like an alarm to your body saying you cannot breathe. So you got to wake up and breathe. And so that may be what triggered the wake-up. And now you might now start to spiral. So that's one thing I always say women have to be evaluated for. Absolutely. Another one could be, pain, chronic pain, back pain, discomfort, things like that. There might also be environmental factors, right? If it's too hot, too cold, there's noise or light. So there's a whole host of things. Most times, of course, the environmental factors, most people will know, basic sleep hygiene to try to correct that. Also caffeine. So having caffeine late in the day can contribute to nighttime wake-ups. And I see this where the woman may be needing the caffeine because she's so exhausted during the day because she woke up at 3 a.m. and now she's now in this vicious cycle. Or she may have a hard time falling asleep and now maybe uses alcohol. So a little bit of nightcap because she wants to fall asleep because she's too stressed about not being able to fall asleep. But the problem with alcohol is it's rapidly metabolized. And so the first half of the night, she may be sedated enough to sleep. and then may start to find herself wake up again in the latter half of the night. So there's such a wide array. Restless leg syndrome is also another reason why you might see some women waking up. So those are just some of the reasons. And I love what you do, which is really offer a very comprehensive approach to tackling these. But these are some of the things I tell people to think about.
And one thing with perimenopause and even menopause is that women will typically not look like the picture of sleep apnea. And I would send them for a sleep study based on their cortisol levels in the morning. So I check, saliva cortisol. So when it's very elevated in the morning, it tells went on during the night. And so with that, we've been able to catch sleep apnea in women who don't look at all. They swear they don't snore, they are not, obese, and it's like, I have sleep apnea, and it's like a shock. So I've become a big advocate of like, if you're in menopause, we need to do a sleep study. Especially when you're having sleep issues. So definitely. Mm-hmm. And you did go over a lot of things that are that come up like in my consultations in regard to sleep. Do you think glucose that are awakening at 3 a.m., like changes in blood glucose, maybe because there's some shift with cortisol, right, at that same time, or like
yes,
changes in hormones when you are sleeping? And
yes, absolutely. So that was one thing too. That was definitely one thing I should have mentioned. So many times you might have a very low blood glucose, and so that can also contribute to awakenings. And this is one of the reasons why, even though there's this typical sleep hygiene rule that says don't eat too late at night. And so when women are trying to fix their sleep issues, they're eating dinner at 5:30 p.m. They're not going to bed till 10. Your blood sugar might drop. And so I usually will recommend that you have an evening snack. And usually you want to have something with some protein, something that's going to provide more of a consistent blood glucose level. So that, for the rest of the night, you can maintain sleep. So that's also many times a common reason why women will wake up. I've had women, track their sugars, using, a tracker, and we see clearly there's a dip. And so trying to normalize that sometimes could be one way to address your nighttime awakenings. It doesn't happen to all women, but it's just something to be aware of as well.
Absolutely. So one statement that shocked me was caffeine has no effect on sleep in menopause. And you said it's a myth. I was like, wait, what? Talk to us about that.
So now that you're reading it again, when I think about that, I'm really referring to the fact that most people, again, I'm a sleep doctor. I talk about sleep hygiene all the time. But I've had women being gaslit, and they've been told, drink less alcohol, stop drinking caffeine, and put away your phone. So I want people to understand, yes, of course, caffeine can impact your sleep, but it doesn't impact it's not often the main culprit to your sleep issues. I have women who drink coffee till 6 p.m. or an iced tea with dinner, and they sleep fine. I have some women who would have stopped their coffee intake from 8 a.m. in the morning, and they still don't. So at the end of the day, the goal is really, I'm ruffling feathers here, but I want us to start to look a little bit different at, similar to what you do, the root cause of things. Because when we can figure that out, then we start to see improvement. Because what I hear a lot is, oh, I was told as long as I put my phone away by 6 p.m., I stop drinking caffeine, I drink only decaffeinated in the morning, and I'm still having issues. Well, that was not, you're barking up the wrong tree. So that's where I'm coming from with that.
Absolutely. And I agree, because even from a cultural standpoint, I have friends from South Africa and Zimbabwe and other, countries where they drink coffee or really strong tea, even Kenya, very strong tea with caffeine as part of their dinner routine, and they sleep well. So clearly it's not the caffeine.
Exactly. It's not. Exactly.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. We tend to harp on caffeine and all these things, but there is definitely more to the picture. So as a sleep expert, are there some structural changes or hormonal changes that affect the sleep architecture? Like, does that lead to less sleep during the deep sleep? Are there changes in REM sleep with menopause? Like, talk to us about that.
Yes, there are major sleep architecture changes that occur in perimenopause and menopause. And I would actually say one of the most common symptoms that really almost like marks the beginning of perimenopause is sleep. It really starts very early, sometimes 5 years before you start having irregular periods or whatever. So this is something I want people to be aware of. So you may notice, I've seen some patients say, well, this problem actually started when I was around 34, 35. And they're like, well, I was told it was not perimenopause, and so nothing to be done. So I think that's definitely something to clarify. In terms of the hormonal changes, there are few things that happen, and those things can impact the way sleep architecture is built. So like I said, we have, our sleep is broken into, various stages. So we have what we call light sleep or stage 1 sleep. We have, relatively less light sleep, but still within the light sleep category, which is stage 2. So stage 1 and 2 are called light sleep. Usually the combination of those two as we get older increases. So you may have percentages anywhere from about, between the N1 sleep, which is about 5%, and then N2 sleep, which is about maybe 40-45%, making up a bulk of the sleep. And then stage 3 or deep sleep, which is what everybody wants more of, is actually a very small percentage, depending on the age. It could be anywhere from as low as about 12% to usually not more than about 20%. And then the rest of it is REM sleep. So that's normal architecture in that sense. And again, that's what I meant by the percentages. So with perimenopause, the first change you start to see, maybe the fluctuations in estrogen, right? Estrogen regulates your body. It's like it controls your body's thermostat. So you might start to see fluctuations in temperature where you start to have hot flashes and night sweats. And those disrupt sleep. That's a sleep disruptant. So you wake up drenched or sweaty, maybe not necessarily drenched, maybe just enough for you to have to peel off one layer of your bedding. That's disrupting your sleep. So when we see that, you can imagine every time you're trying to get into deep sleep, you get kicked out of that because of that discomfort. So that impacts architecture. And then the other piece is the progesterone. We call progesterone nature's Xanax, right? It's kind of sedative. If you're pregnant,
calming tonic,
very calming, right? That's where you see very high levels in pregnant women, and they just pretty sleepy and relaxed, at least before the baby now starts to get big and then takes up all the space, right? And so you have a decrease in that. We actually start to see a decline also in not just the amount of deep sleep, but the depth of deep sleep, the amplitude of deep sleep. So think about a baby or your toddler. If they're asleep, you could carry them, you could make noise, you could whatever. It could be a parade outside, they're knocked out because their sleep is really deep. Their deep sleep is very deep. The amplitudes are high. When you're in perimenopause, we get older, the amplitude starts to decrease. When you're in perimenopause, again, you start to see those changes. with the effect of progesterone, which is why I have a lot of patients who maybe they'll say, oh, my spouse always snored, but now the snoring is annoying me. Yeah, because now your sleep is easily disrupted. So we'll start to see more of that as well. So those are some of the changes that we see. And we see a lot more light sleep as a result of this. So the percentage of your light sleep may start to increase. And then also your total sleep duration may start to decrease as well because of these changes. And of course, in addition to that, you might have these cortisol spikes. And so that also tends to cause awakenings, which sometimes might be prolonged as well. So those are some of the changes we see.
That's very, thank you for that review. That the amplitude, that part I did not recognize, but I always look, I was like, oh, I spent 2 hours in deep sleep, but how deep, was the deep sleep is like important. This is so good. This is so good. I can't believe our time is coming up, but could you let us know like some of the basic things women can do to help improve their sleep? I think you've gone over a few things during this conversation, but what are some of the things you haven't shared yet to help? Yeah.
Absolutely. So think of this. I always compare sleep hygiene to dental hygiene. The fact that I'm a sleep doctor and I see sort of the bad stuff doesn't mean you shouldn't do the basics, right? The same way you're not just going to your dentist only when you have a cavity. You go there for maintenance, you do your regular flossing and brushing. So that's the way I see sleep hygiene. I think that is still very fundamental. So I don't want you throwing it all out and just trying to find the deep stuff. So let's start off with that, a consistent sleep time and wake up time as much as possible. If you're so busy and you can't really be in control of that sleep time, you need to work on boundaries, but that's a different talk. Try to at least wake up the same time every day, including weekends. You really want to avoid too much of a variability because that can contribute to circadian rhythm issues. The second piece is making sure that you have a bedtime routine, especially again for women in midlife. You're struggling with juggling a lot of balls, you're stressed, you're working, you're doing all of that. So the routine is for you to just really help regulate that nervous system, do some breathing exercises, maybe do some stretching, do some reading, some journaling, practicing gratitude. All those things matter. That routine is key. And then your environment, especially if you're having temperature changes, right? So make sure your bedroom is very cool. People will say between 68 and 72. I mean, that might be too cold for you. Just make sure it's cooler than the rest of the house. If you don't want to freeze your bed partner, get a fan or something, or we also have these cooling pads that you can get. They have so many brands now, just to make sure that temperature is cool. It will make a world of difference, even if it feels like, oh, really, I just like to be warm and cozy. If you're hot, you will wake up and your sleep will be restless. And then the other thing I see a lot of women doing is, their phones, they're eating, they're watching TV, their laptops, they're doing all this work in bed. You want to make your bedroom a sanctuary. So avoid non-sleep related activities in the bed, if possible in the bedroom. That's really important. Managing that technology we use, setting boundaries, usually about 30 minutes to 1 hour before bed, you want to put that phone away because the content can be very activating. And then the last thing I would say would be things like, the caffeine, like it can play a role depending on who or what we're dealing with. So caffeine, alcohol, spicy, heavy meals, you want to try to avoid all of that before bed. So those things are fundamental. So that's one way to optimize your health. Practice those healthy sleep habits. The second thing I would say is, you've done all that, you're like, I'm still struggling. This is really where it's important to speak with your doctor. So, speaking with Dr. Ruth to say, hey, I've tried this, I need help, because then you can get a more comprehensive approach to say, what are we missing? Are these hormonal issues that need to be addressed? And in terms of what they are being addressed, there's so many options to look into. Is there an underlying sleep disorder, like, sleep apnea or restless leg syndrome or other things that we're missing? So really that's where you start to have that that conversation so that you are not suffering for so long.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I think, once people can get enough restful sleep, it affects how they eat, it affects how they move, it affects everything. It's so connected. You are not going to reach for a salad if you are sleep deprived, or you are not going to make those mindful choices when you are sleep deprived. So it is so important, the work that you do, and thank you so much for the impact that you are making. How can the viewers find you if they wanted to connect with you? I know you have the book, you have your podcast, you have the YouTube channel, you have the website. So you are not indoors, it's not hard to find you, but how can they find you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you so much. This was such a fun conversation. So I'm everywhere, I guess. So online, you could find me at the restfulsleepmd.com. So restfulsleepmd.com. That's also my handle on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. We're there. And then, I have my YouTube channel, which we talk so much about various sleep disorders and things like that. So including women in midlife, we talk about that a lot. And on my website, I also have an incredible course for insomnia for women in midlife. So if you go to my website, restfulsleepmd.com/course, you could get that and literally start sleeping better, especially if you're located in a place where I'm not licensed to see you. These are the same tools and strategies that I use with my patients to get them their success.
Thank you so much. Yes, I forgot. Yeah, I am very excited about the new course. I think that if you're a woman in midlife, you should definitely take that course, because once you start sleeping better, all the other foundations will fall into place. The eating, the fitness goals, and all of it, the weight especially, and so there's just so many things that work better once you start sleeping well. Thank you so much, Dr. Brown. I really appreciate your time here with us, and I hope we can have you come back in the future. I want us to talk about progesterone and sleep and all those other things that we didn't have a chance to look into. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.